Hi and welcome to another narration presented by yours truly, Cryptids Roost. Please be so kind as to throat punch the like button and smack the ass of the subscription button as well. And remember to tap that notification bell and then select all. That way you'll receive all notifications each time I upload a new video. I would like to reach out and say a huge thank you to those of you who have supported Cryptids Roost financially. We pray the good Lord replenishes you abundantly, and to those of you who will later on, we pray the good Lord bless you as you do so. And also a huge thank you to everyone for always supporting the channel with your likes, comments and shares as well. It is all very much appreciated. God bless you all. So grab your coffee, sit back and enjoy the show. And don't forget, where fear is, happiness is not. I'm a PI, and I think I'm chasing a monster. Part 2. This awesome series is written by cfalnevermore, a wonderful author over on Reddit. If you'd like to read more of their works, the Reddit link to their profile will be below in the description. I'm definitely onto something. I shouldn't be onto something. I mentioned a trip to the bar. Let's talk about that. I still live on the road, using Wi-Fi and a web presence to look for jobs. There are lots of people willing to pay to find things out. When I can, I unwind with some video games, but lately I haven't been able to focus. I keep thinking about the weird details with Hope's case. It bothered me enough that one night I quit what I was doing and went looking for a bar. Like many before me, I'm well on my way to letting this job make an alcoholic of me. I found a little dive in a small town that was brightly lit enough and only a block away from a motel. So I checked myself in, then trudged over for some drinks. The bartender welcomed me with the warmest of smiles. "Hey, welcome, welcome. Have a seat. It's been kind of a dull night. You seem like an interesting character," he said with a grin. I almost had trouble deciding if he was a man or a woman. The short hair and deep voice made me think man, but his soft features and smooth complexion, either way, they were handsome. Honestly, they looked a little too glamorous for such a cheap looking dive. This looked like the sort of person who served cocktails to the rich and famous. "You seem pretty interesting too. This place yours?" "Nah, I'm just looking after it for now. What brings you to the middle of nowhere?" I smirked and sat in front of him. "Weird stuff." "Oh, my favourite. What kind of weird? And what can I get for you?" "Double shot of whiskey and some kind of cold stout to wash it down." "How many kinds of weird are there?" "Coming right up. There's all sorts." He set to work preparing my shot. "You've got your silly weird, like a friend who thinks tadpoles are hilarious. Then there's your creepy weird, where you notice some stranger staring at you and breathing heavily in the corner of the room." As he set my shot down, I found myself checking over my shoulder to ease the cold chill that ran up my spine. I swallowed up my shot as the barman continued. "There's also your unexplainable weird, where you swear you saw a floating cow or someone straight up vanish from sight. I love hearing folks try to explain that stuff." "Huh, I guess mine is mostly the last one, maybe a little of the second mixed in." He slid a cold pint to me. "Do tell." I paused to consider. It really wasn't wise to share details, but I wasn't exactly on an official case. It'd been a while since I'd just had a friendly chat. Maybe talking would ease my mind. "Well, see, I'm a private eye." "Oh, detective stories are the best." The guy seemed genuinely excited. It was both weird, that's his first definition of weird, and endearing. I was working on a pretty dark case, led me into some dark corners of the web. I had to interact with some really sick people and read through the writings of some really deranged minds. child traffickers and such. I was looking for someone that had been kidnapped, the daughter of some friends of mine. She'd been snatched by some network. Police and the FBI stayed on the case for some time, but the trail went cold, so I took the case myself. How'd you live and stuff? Out of a car, and very frugally. After 3 years giving it my all and doing irreparable damage to my own psyche, I scrounged some clues that led to this house. 2 days after I got there, something weird happened. The case solved itself. The bartender leaned on the counter, chin resting on a hand, watching raptly. How? Well, I saw the guy bring some woman home. 20 minutes later, police arrived and found 3 kidnapped girls. One of them was the one I'd been searching for. I can't figure out what the hell happened in those 20 minutes, and neither can police. It's not even clear who called them. Oh man, that is super weird. Any clues on how that happened? I took a long swig of my beer. I could feel the over-generous shot I took starting to take effect. That's where your third definition of weird comes into it. The woman he brought home, she had a red dress. He got excited and interrupted with a woman in red? That's a classic. I know, right? Almost too on the nose. But anyway, it seems this guy was a predator in more than one way. He brought this woman in red home, and there's evidence he was kidnapping women to be traded. I saw him take this lady inside. She looked totally smashed. As you can imagine, I was freaking out. But then, 20 minutes later, bam! Cops arrived to find the scene. There's no sign of the woman in red, and it looks like somehow she's put the doctor in a coma, broken the girls out of their cage, and vanished. Like some kind of ghost. Could she have done it all herself? Maybe she's a smart lady. It's not completely outside the realm of possibility, but here's the thing. There's no way in hell she did it that fast. Like I said, it was about 20 minutes between her going inside and the first officer arriving. The officer claimed he got there 10 minutes after the call, so the timeline would be: she arrives, she goes upstairs to the doctor's bedroom, does whatever it is that leaves him in a coma with his pants down, calls the police, causes a power surge that disables all possible security the doctor had, runs down to the basement, instantly finds the hidden room, digs through the wall, breaks through the chains, carries the girls upstairs, and still have enough time to vanish from the house in such a way that I didn't see her leave. And I was watching like a hawk. Maybe the wall was already broken by someone else? That's what the cops are going with. But some unknown third party was responsible for digging the girls out, breaking their chains and bringing them upstairs. It seems very unlikely they made it into his house at some earlier time without the guy knowing. He was meticulously careful about hiding his crimes, and there were a lot of security measures. So while it's the most rational explanation, I don't buy it. How did nobody hear someone digging through the wall? Were they coordinating with the woman? Who the hell are these people, and how did they find the doctor? Nobody was even close to being on this guy's trail. At least I thought so. That's a mysterious one, all right. Did you talk to your friend's kid? She thinks a dog dug her out. Weirdly enough, I thought I saw an animal running towards the house that night too, which makes it all even weirder. A dog. A friend of mine has a dog. Great guard dog, could sniff out anything. The girl, her name is Hope. She claimed the dog did some very unusual things for a dog. That it pointed its fingers. That it carried her up a flight of stairs and set her on a couch. She even said a woman, presumably the woman in red, was having a conversation with it. All very strange. But it's worth noting she was drugged and traumatised. I'm not sure she has the firmest grasp on what she was seeing. trauma is strange like that. But what made her think dog specifically? What kind of animal did you see? I pondered. I only glimpsed a shadow through the scope of my camera. It had been large, but with skinny limbs. I'm not sure about either of those, to be honest. I only saw it for a second. Probably a bear, but at first I thought it was a dog or a wolf. What made you think bear? It seemed pretty big. Maybe it was a person? Maybe, but it sure as hell didn't move like one. So you ruled out that someone else got to the house at some earlier time, but it doesn't seem the woman could have done this alone. It's got to have something to do with the wolf. Maybe it sniffed out the secret room? How could it dig through the wall and carry the girl upstairs though? Cops didn't find traces of animal hair either. But then, a lot of the CSI data was inconclusive. Dogs can be trained well, but I don't know. I think it was a person. Had to be. But that begs the question, how did these vigilantes even find the place? I was really lucky to even find a clue. I finished off my beer. I could feel a pleasant buzz coming. At that point, I swear the temperature in the bar dropped a few degrees. I shivered as my kindly bartender looked up and smiled wide. "My lady," he proclaimed, "it's been too long. What are you calling yourself these days?" I turned to look at this lady. I swear I didn't even hear the door open. I found an absolutely statuesque woman in a casual but beautiful black dress. She was tall, well over 6 feet. "Good to see you, Dennis. Call me Bay." She moved the way I imagined a refined queen might, flowing her way through spaces with elegance and grace. She stopped next to me and looked down with a smile on her lips. "Mind if I join you?" "Not at all. I might be slightly jealous of your hair. How the hell did you get it to lay so perfectly?" I replied, admiring her rich dark locks. "Years of practice." She sat down. "I'll need to dig into my special stores to find a drink for you. I'll be right back," said Dennis as he disappeared into some back room. "I believe I heard that your name is Rain?" the tall woman asked me. "Yeah, Rain Gustafsson. Nice to meet you. Was it Bay, like part of the ocean?" "That's how it sounds," she replied, but didn't add anything further. "I couldn't help but overhear quite the interesting case you were working on." My internal alarms went off. How the hell did she hear about my case? She just got here. "It's been quite a trip. How did you hear though?" "Oh, I was waiting for a good time to come in. Dennis is an old friend of mine." The smooth-skinned bartender, Dennis apparently, returned with a lovely looking glass of white wine. He set it down for the Lady Bay before looking thoughtfully at me, stroking his chin. "So, I have a thought. It's a weird one though." "What you got?" "Maybe the two were magic. Maybe the dog was a werewolf." I laughed. "If I just stumbled on a mythical monster?" "You did say a strange animal though. Stop and think about it. Your memory plays tricks on you." "What do you think you saw?" Bay asked, looking intently at me while turning her wine glass. For some reason I didn't question how she heard all these details from outside. I figured I'd talk loud when I'm drinking. "Well, I could have sworn it was a wolf. A wolf with like weird looking legs." "What did it do?" "It jumped over the fence and ran towards a house." "How? What do you mean?" "It jumped. I stopped and tried replaying the memory in my head. It had only been a shadowy silhouette, but there had been something strange about its movements. It skulked into view on all fours, but then it jumped over the fence by sitting up, putting a hand on the top of the fence and hopping over, almost like a person would. It landed on its back feet too. Did you think of something? There were weird things about the way it moved. But still, like you said, my memory could be playing tricks on me. It must have been a person, moving a bit like an animal. Nah, see, Dennis chimed in. They say werewolves look part man, part wolf, right? Might have had the sniffer to find the room, the claws to dig through the wall, the dexterity to break the chains, the arms to carry the 3 girls upstairs, and the fingers to point. What else makes sense? I wonder if the moon was full that night. Some people think werewolves are just people that turn into wolves though, and werewolves aren't real. Maybe it changed back and forth? Doesn't have to be a werewolf, Lady Bay said as she sipped her drink. Could be someone dressed as one. That I could buy. But how did he and the woman disappear? That got a shrug out of everyone. Magic? Dennis said again. I just laughed. I mean, maybe. Sure, easier than all the explanations I'm coming up with. It's just killing me that I didn't see either of them leave. But if you two will indulge me, something else about all this is killing me too. My oddball drinking buddies waited patiently for me to continue. On the one hand, awesome, case closed. A child trafficker is busted and my friends have their little girl back. Don't get me wrong, I'm not upset about any of that. But boy, does it feel like some cosmic force or something swooped in and solved the case before I could. Part of me feels like a wind was stolen from me, a big wind too, which makes me wonder if I'm a monster. I mean, all that horrid shit I was pretending to be a part of for 3 years. Lady Bay put a hand on my shoulder. It was the most comforting thing I'd ever felt. Or maybe that was the alcohol. You put yourself in danger to save someone you loved. You stared into an abyss. You didn't waver. You did what you had to do. Don't ever let anyone tell you that makes you less of a human being. I looked up at her. She had stern, dark, almost crimson-coloured eyes. There wasn't an ounce of disbelief in those eyes. I mean, that's true. What will you do if you find these vigilantes? I'm honestly not sure. I won't be turning them in. I can't. Not after I saw Hope's parents come back to life. I guess I hate not knowing in this case. Keep in mind, Dennis chimed in, there may be no going back. I mean, what if you really saw a werewolf? You find that guy and now you know werewolves are real. That's got to shatter a person's view of the world. I don't know about werewolves, but I keep an open mind. I see weird shit on the job, and you hear about police cases with unknown written way too many times in the report. You, I like. Lady Bay downed her entire glass in one long swig. It was really jarring to watch what everything else she did that oozed elegance. You handle a loss with grace. That's rare. You handle your fear with bravery. But you aren't foolish enough to deny your fear either. Fear helped you grow, as it should. I sat there, sort of enjoying the praise, but I couldn't help wondering where this woman was getting all this. We've been talking for 5 minutes. Is she drunk already? I'm just a person. I try to do what I can. And you're humble. Look, you can think whatever you like about me. Maybe I'm just some raving madwoman in a fancy dress to you. That's fine. But don't forget this talk. Sometimes there isn't an explanation that makes sense to the world you know. I'm gonna go now. Bye, Dennis. She got up and stumbled her way out. None of the flowing elegance I saw earlier was present. I looked back at my kindly bartender in bewilderment. Did that just happen? She's an unusual one. Some would say she has trouble fitting in. He made air quotes there. She usually doesn't like people. That makes you pretty special. I hate to say it, but I'm creeped out more than anything. Dennis laughed. She'd be proud of that. Can I get you anything else? You look like you've only just got a buzz going. I got one more beer and kept chatting with Dennis about his magical theories before I stumbled my way back to my motel and passed out. It's nice to sleep on a bed, in a place with its own shower from time to time. When I woke up, I thought about my previous evening with amusement, at least until the police knocked on my door. They had a bunch of questions for me. Apparently, the bar I was at was closed for renovations. Security cams caught me entering and getting served a drink by Dennis, but according to the owner, Dennis isn't someone who ever worked at that establishment. I'd inadvertently been involved in the illegal serving of alcohol. Thankfully, I was let off the hook. I couldn't have known the place was closed. I'd just gone in for some drinks. I'd even paid. Dennis had added my purchase to the cash register and everything. I was let go after questioning. They just assumed some weirdo found his way in and pretended to be a bartender for the evening. So that was freaking weird. You know what else is weird? The camera glitched when Lady Bay showed up. There was no sign of a tall woman entering the building. I also just thought of something that's freaking me out. I don't remember telling anyone my name, but Lady Bay said she'd heard it. I'm just going to assume I just forgot that I introduced myself. It seems Weird has decided to start following me. After a long day of cooperating with police, I was ready to get back to my search. My little trip to the bar inspired me though. I tried adding werewolf and magic to my searches, and the damnedest thing happened. I found something. I found a story posted by a woman who claimed she'd hired a detective who specialised in weird, had ocean blue eyes, that she's pretty sure was a werewolf. Hope believes a blue-eyed dog saved her from her prison. Now, here's a story about a blue-eyed werewolf that solves crimes. It's most likely a coincidence. The connection is tenuous at best, but I got in contact with this woman all the same. I'll have to see if she'll let me post her story. Don't forget, if you enjoyed that story, be sure to pop over to the author's Reddit profile and drop them a line, or even give them a glowing review. I'm sure they really would appreciate it. The link to their Reddit profile will be below in the description. Please be so kind as to throat punch the like button and smack the ass of the subscription button as well. And remember to tap the notification bell and then select all. That way you'll receive all notifications each time I upload a new video. Oh, and don't forget to share the video far and wide. This will all help with YouTube's algorithm and will help to promote this channel more. And don't forget to check out the merch store. The link will be in the description and also in the video thumbnail. And if you would like an honourable mention, send in a snapshot of yourself with your purchase and I'll feature it in one of the videos. I now have my very own subreddit community where you can submit any stories you've written. You can submit your stories or encounters either there or send them to cryptidsroost@gmail.com. If you wish to remain anonymous, that's fine with me. All the links are below. I also have a Facebook group, Twitter, Reddit, and you'll also find me on Discord. If you would like to support this channel and help make it grow, my PayPal is paypal.me/cryptidsroost. Again, that will also be below. And don't forget, where fear is, happiness is not.